Welcome to Administering the Kindergarten Transition Indicators, a best practices training module designed to assist you with the implementation of the criterion referenced assessment of early literacy and early numeracy skills. The Kindergarten Transition Indicators consist of 8 early literacy and numeracy criterion referenced tasks that are based on early learning and Pennsylvania core standards for children preparing to enter kindergarten. These indicators were developed to provide a common kindergarten transition assessment in Lancaster and Lebanon counties. Designed to be administered to children who will be entering a school's kindergarten program, the information will help us to better understand the needs of children entering kindergarten programs in the county. The purpose of this video is to present standard procedures for administering the kindergarten transition indicators. Standardization refers to a method of administering an assessment that is exactly the same each time. Many tests used with children in schools have standardized directions, such as DIBELS. By standardizing the administration of the indicators, we can ensure that each individual taking the test has exactly the same test questions, the same resources, and the same type of testing environment. That way, no child inadvertently gets an advantage or is at a disadvantage compared to another child. For example, if the person giving a child a test provides feedback that is not within the standardized directions, this may give the child clues or help with answering a question that would not be provided to another child, thereby changing the results of the assessment. When assessment practices are standardized, the results can be more confidently compared over groups of students and over time. The first step of administering the kindergarten transition indicators is to prepare the testing environment. Establish a location for administering the assessment that limits distractions such as noise and also provides appropriate light and seating for the child. Be prepared with all the necessary items, including a copy of the transition indicators and a pencil for the examiner. The student sheets that include the uppercase and lowercase numbers and 4 shapes, a pencil for the student, 10 small objects to use as counters, and a small children's book. It's best to have only the items that you are currently using out on the table or desk. Put other materials to the side of the examiner, preferably out of the sight and reach of the child. The next step after ensuring that you have a testing location and that all materials are ready is to prepare for administering the indicators. Carefully read all of the directions so that you're comfortable with placement of the appropriate materials used for different tasks and are familiar with the verbal directions written in bold prior to administering to a child. Practice handling the materials so that you're familiar with the manipulatives and the child isn't distracted by them. Establish rapport with the child by engaging in a brief conversation prior to giving the assessment to help him or her feel more comfortable. Then administer the indicators by reading the directions in a friendly tone of voice, not monotone. When administering the indicators to children, it's important to follow the written directions exactly. The Kindergarten Transition Indicators student sheets provide a constant format for letter, number, and shape recognition tasks and provide consistent language to be used when administering the tasks. Say the direction words in bold exactly as written. If you think that this student may have been distracted or has forgotten the direction words to the task, you may repeat the directions. For example, for the isolating initial sounds portion, follow all of the directions in bold for correct or incorrect responses of the practice items. However, if a child stops responding or appears confused with what they are supposed to do, you may say, "Remember, tell me the first sound you hear in the word." Do not provide any other feedback regarding a response. It can be tempting to change or rephrase the prompt to give the child a better chance of answering correctly. But remember, we want to give every child the same opportunities to respond so that we can compare the results fairly. It's also important not to provide additional coaching on the indicators. We want to make sure we're assessing a child's current skills, not teaching new ones. Continue with each indicator until the child completes the task. Thank the child for his or her participation and note on the checklist whether or not the child met the benchmark for each activity. When all the children have completed the indicators, tally the total number of children that reached the benchmark on all 8 indicators. This information will be gathered for the district as a whole. The kindergarten transition indicators are just one way schools can help families prepare for this important event in a child's life. While not designed to provide a complete assessment of a child's developmental stages, the indicators can provide parents and teachers with insight in a child's skills in comparison to current educational expectations.